Welcome to LoveCast, the boys love podcast, where we talk about everything related to boys love. I'm your host Pixie, and with me are my co-hosts Kayla and Alexa.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi guys. We were having some technical difficulties, second live and everything, but everything is okay now.
Hello, hello.
Hello. So, as you can see for the title, we will be talking about History 4 today. We have a lot of thoughts about it. A
Yeah.
lot of thoughts. Before that, we were thinking that we were just gonna talk a little bit about a situation that's been going on for 2 weeks now.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the main actors in the Chinese show Word of Honor, there was some pictures of him from 2019 released where he was visiting a Japanese shrine, and a lot of bad stuff has happened at that shrine. I'm not completely sure about what
The
happened.
history behind it and
Yeah,
everything.
but apparently it's very well known for Chinese people, and it's very bad to visit, very disrespectful for the culture and people who were affected by whatever happened there. And yeah, so he has effectively been removed from existence from this.
Yeah. I did a little research on the specific shrine, and it's called Yasukuni Shrine.
Mm.
And it's basically a memorial to Japanese war criminals who invaded China. So
I can see why that is.
obviously, yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of controversy. It honestly reminded me a teensy bit of the American South where I live,
Mhm.
because there are so many Confederate memorials that
Yeah.
represent like really dark and insidious parts of history.
Right.
So I equate it to that, because a lot of people might be like, this is a part of Japanese history, but I feel like there is a difference between teaching history so that it doesn't repeat itself,
Mm.
And
and
like
then
condoning it.
being like complicit and like memorializing these military figures.
Yeah.
So honestly, I understand where Chinese fans are coming from,
Mhm.
because from their perspective, it would seem like the actor is, I don't know if it's
Disrespecting.
memorializing
Yeah.
or I don't know, kind of using it as like a tourist spot for photos. It does
Yeah,
seem
what I
very
heard that he was going there for a wedding.
Oh, so that's another thing
Why would
is,
you hold a wedding at a spot like that?
yeah, so the
Yeah.
shrine thing was apparently separate. And then the other thing is that he went to a shrine called Nogi Shrine for a wedding ceremony. And there were pictures of him there. But I think the main thing people were upset with was this war criminals memorial shrine.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, and he wasn't taking it seriously from what I heard. And they were really picking apart his apology as well, because it didn't seem like he minded the whole thing either way, and he reads a lot of history apparently. So yeah, I I have seen people commenting a lot about what they think about the Chinese opinion on this, and I feel like as non-Chinese, I have
You shouldn't have an opinion.
I have no opinions on how the Chinese should feel about this, because it's their culture, it's their history. I shouldn't have anything to say about that. But I do have an issue with them erasing him from existence.
Yeah, I think it's really I don't know. I mean, it's so hard to talk about without being like, I don't want to criticize like China and the way that they handle things, but I mean, we have kind of talked about this before, how extreme some of these like types of punishments can be. And it's really interesting to see how this is being handled in contrast with the Chris Wu situation. that's someone who is literally being arrested for
Rape.
having sex with underage women, like as young as like 13, 14. And yes, I think he was banned from Weibo. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Weibo, I think.
Weibo.
And a lot of like his projects and stuff were taken down, but the actor himself like has not been banned in the same way that the actor from Word of Honor is. So I think it just kind of highlights how, and the Word of Honor situation, it is connected to something political. So I think that's going to be taken a lot more seriously, unfortunately, than sexual assault. But I don't know,
Yeah,
seeing these two
especially when
things like
it's
happen
like
at the same
women
time.
that are
Yeah.
being sexual assaulted. Yeah. Yeah, I feel, and they handled this situation a lot faster than what they did with Chris Wu. Like it's just recently that he actually got arrested even.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel this whole situation is really, yeah. I I don't think he deserves to be erased, like he doesn't exist. I do think that the Chinese are allowed to think what they think about the situation. It's none of my business. But there are ways to deal with stuff like this that does not involve erasing a human being.
Yeah. Yeah. It's unfortunate. Like,
Mm.
I don't know. And especially when it's something that happened, what was it, 2 years ago in 2019? Um, it kind of just like makes you think about how, like, this person's career and stuff has been jeopardized from something that happened so long ago.
Yeah, I mean, I only know it from the perspective of I know that Japan has invaded and
Mm-hmm.
tried to colonize a lot of places in the world, and a lot of people feel that they've never truly apologized for that.
Yeah, that's very true.
And that they maybe try to cover it up with the kawaii marketing and all of that stuff. So I only know it from like that perspective of just, I know that Japan has colonized a lot of places, and I know that I feel it's a little similar to the Confederacy in the
Mm-hmm.
US. But yeah, I don't know what the solution is. Like, I don't know what his punishment should have been instead, because I agree that it does seem very extreme to just pretend like he doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. It's hard to, like we said, it's hard to have an opinion on it because there is so much that like we don't know everything about.
Yeah. Yeah. And Chris Wu, yeah, he lost everything in China, like his whole stuff. Yeah, yeah. But the man raped people. So, I mean,
I think it's I don't know. I can't say I think it's different because I don't know,
yeah, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
not
things
going to
have
comment
different
on the
meanings to
gravity
different
of
places.
situations here, but you know that China um, is does not treat women in the way they should be treated. So the seriousness of the situation hasn't been always. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna let this lay down now. It's yeah, we just wanted to inform people and let everyone know what's going on, because I know like we know about it because of the Discord server, and not everyone has that. So it's at least nice to know why Word of Honor is disappearing,
Yeah.
and why his other projects are gone, and why he's disappeared from the face of the
The
earth.
spotlight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, History 4.
HIStory4.
What a segue.
So yeah, definitely like if you guys have anything that you want us to touch on, any specific scenes or characters or anything like that that you want to talk about, let us know, because I feel like otherwise we'll just kind of like start ranting as we usually do.
Yeah.
And then we have Heather, our podcast assistant, who's going to try and keep track of like any questions that come through. So anything you want to talk about or address, just drop it in the chat and we will get to it.
Yeah. I want to make it clear before we kind of start going into things that my opinions about this show has nothing to do with the actors in it. I do not have a problem with the actors and how they did anything. Like, I actually liked the actors. I like them a lot. I think they did a good job. They don't represent the story of the show. So just making that clear, whatever my opinions are going ahead, it's not, don't take it as like a directed against the actors, because it's not.
And I will say, I think I don't want to speak for all of us, but I think our feelings are going to err more on the negative side of things. So if you did enjoy the series, like, please know that we respect that. And also, if you want to talk about why you enjoyed it, like, we are 100% open to discussing that and having that conversation. And I'm sure there are things that we all did like about it too, but, you know, as a whole, I do think we will err more on criticizing the series. So please don't take that to heart. Please don't, I don't want people to feel like we're discrediting their feelings about the series or anything like that if they did enjoy it. So please feel free to share what you liked about it and everything like that. And we would definitely want to discuss that as well.
Yeah, and like this is our opinions. We're not
we're not critics, we're not professionals.
It's just opinions. And we can have different opinions. It's fine. So yeah, who wants to go first?
Oh God. I always have to take 1,000 notes on every single thing. I am not 100% sure on the pronunciation of names. I think it's the main character is Xingxi. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Sounds right to me.
Okay, but I guess, I don't know. I guess I should just jump in because okay, so the first thing that stuck out to me about this series was the pseudo incest plotline.
Yeah, there is that.
There's Xingxi, who is like the main character, and his younger brother is Yongji. And by the end of the series, they're in like a serious romantic relationship. But this relationship is initiated by Yongji getting Jingxi drunk and raping him. And like during the incident, Yongji says that he'll kiss him on the lips when he's sober, but he like proceeds to like rape him. And actually, I thought that the character's initial reaction to what happened was pretty like well done. Like after Xingxi realizes what happens, he's all distraught and he cries about it to his friends. And I remember Mu Ren even saying like, it doesn't matter if you're a man, no still means no. So like, I was like, okay, maybe this is going to end up with the brothers not getting together because Xingxi feels so distressed over what happened and his friends are like very much defending him, especially Mu Ren, I feel like is the only one in this series who really has common sense. Because throughout pretty much the whole series, he's the one who is like very reluctant to give Yongji, the younger brother, a chance or anything like that. But like, I feel like the whole conversation around sexual assault in this series is like so weird because you'll have like Mu Ren, like I said, like resenting the younger brother. But then you'll have Li Sheng, the one who's like pursuing him. He'll like justify his own advances towards him by saying that it's not sexual assault because they're both men.
Right. Yeah, I remember being really pissed about that.
It almost feels like they're trying to paint rape as an issue that isn't black and white. But I feel like it's something that's so cut and dry that I was honestly offended for Xingxi's character. But I don't know. Like, I appreciate that they put content warnings at least. Because I feel like that is a lot more than what a lot of BLs do.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they did that after receiving backlash, like they went in afterwards and added it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was afterwards because
that's probably
this show is rated 15.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's crazy. But yeah, I think just the conversation around sexual assault in the show is so strange And like I can never pinpoint like what the writer's stance is on things.
Right.
Especially because the brothers end up becoming like a happy, loving couple in the end. But like truthfully, I don't believe that Youngji actually loves his brother. I feel like he is just like very trauma bonded to him because the brother came into his life when his dad died. And I almost feel like he doesn't really want a boyfriend. He wants the brother to be like his father figure.
Yeah.
Daddy issues.
Which
he's
honestly,
very obsessive. Very obsessive.
I get, but I'm just like, why did things have to turn out this way? And it's like I've said in the past, like nobody is asking for BLs to not like depict like things like sexual assault and rape, but it's just like
do it properly.
When you're depicting them, it's like you have to show them in the correct light, I guess, and not have a rapist be one of the people in an endgame couple. Because then it's like you're romanticizing, and then that gets
framed romantic.
Like, so I think that was my biggest issue with this series, was really the sexual assault themes in it, and how I never was sure if like they were trying to say it was wrong or it was okay, or like it was
wasn't
just
clear at all.
I don't know. But
actually, one of my biggest issues is like the writing in this. Like the way the little brother is written is so unbelievable. It's if you do like analyzation of his behavior and what he does and everything, that it doesn't make sense, anything of it. Even like I had people arguing that he was like mentally on the spectrum, right? He had some deep mental issues, but that doesn't make sense either, because they are making him antisocial but highly functional because he's good at school. But then they make him take a bartending class, which is a really, really social event. Like my sister, she used to be a bartender, and I mean, you have to be really physical there when you're a bartender. You have to like people, and he doesn't like people. So it just doesn't make sense for me at all that they're trying to make him look like he's got some really mental issues, but then his actions aren't matching up to it at all. Like I wouldn't mind if he actually had some mental issues that made him this obsessive and thinking the wrong way about his brother, but they didn't make any sort of connection to any of it. It's just so badly written. It's obvious that the writer of the script has no idea about anything that has with psychology to do, and has done zero research on it, which bothered me a lot, because if you're gonna write or depict characters like that, you need to do your research about it.
Yeah. And there is a very common trope, and this is not just in BL, just in media as a whole, as people trying to use mental disorders, whatever they may be, as an excuse for the way characters act and to have them get out of consequences. And whether or not he did have a mental disorder that caused his obsession or whatever was going on there, I don't think that's an excuse for his behavior or romanticizing his behavior or saying, well, it's okay because he has such and such disorder and can't control himself. Because not only does most of the time the symptoms and behaviors that they portray mental disorders within media are inaccurate to begin with, it also paints a negative light to people who live with these disorders in real life and are just trying to exist as normal people with these disorders. And then you see characters portrayed in them as portrayed with those disorders in media that are completely off the scale. And, you know, people unfortunately can't separate media and reality all the time. And they put those traits onto people in real life. So as someone, and this is where, like, as you guys might know, I'm getting my master's in a psychology degree. So like seeing this kind of stuff portrayed in dramas and using mental health and mental disorders or autism spectrum disorder as excuses for behavior is just always very, very frustrating for me to watch.
Mm.
Yeah, and one of our comments says that saying that the neurodivergent, or making the neurodivergent character, if he is the bad guy, might be considered ableist. And
Yeah.
I do see that as a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the idea that neurodivergent people can control their actions or always end up doing bad things or don't know how to differentiate between right and wrong and things like that. Like, I don't know, it just paints them in such a negative and, like you said, ableist light. It's really frustrating to watch.
And I went through some of the comments of, like, on my drama list, on Wiki and stuff like that, because I was curious about the general reaction to this. And, like, okay, a lot of people were pointing out the wrongness of it, but then there were the ones who were which makes this even worse, because this show has, like, made them think like this, because someone commented that because he has this diary, the little brother has this diary that he wrote, like, about his brother and how much he loved him and whatever, then it meant he really loved him and the rape was okay because he really loved him. And I'm just thinking, it was very framed like it was a teenage girl writing this, and it just makes me like, is this what we're teaching young
Makes
kids?
me want to scream.
Because the show is 15 plus. Think about the demographic that's watching this.
Yeah, this is why I'm always like, fiction 100% influences reality and teaches empathy or apathy depending on the situation. So I get really like, this is like one of the things in BL that like bothers me the most, is whenever things like rape are depicted like this. So then people, the viewers, who are usually young girls or women, are just like, oh, okay, this is fine. Because it's romantic and
it means they love me or something like that. Like, oh
yeah, I don't want anyone to be taught that. Like, that's so bad.
Yeah, I remember, like, there's a comment that Muren made, I think, that's really stuck with me when they're in the bath and the other guy touches him inappropriately, and Muren tells him that if I was a girl, that would be sexual assault.
Yeah.
And
that's why I'm like, he's the only one who understands.
Yeah, but
that, like, what is happening is weird.
Yeah, but how damaging is it to say that it's only sexual assault if it's against women?
Yeah.
What are you teaching men who are getting touched inappropriately if you're saying something like that? And it's been framed like a moment that was like, whoa, like common sense. But no, either
it's sexual assault either way.
Yes. It's so wrong. And it's just that scene stuck with me so badly, because I'm just thinking about all these queer people who are watching this and seeing this and getting it stuck in their head that it's okay for other men to touch them. Or if you're a woman and another woman is touching you, like, it's not okay.
Yeah. And I think it also can kind of push that narrative that queer people are like deviant by nature and use their sexuality as an excuse to get away with things. Like, oh, I'm gay and doing this to another man, so it's fine, when that's not the case. And like you said, it's sexual harassment either way. And this is not something that's exclusive to queer people doing this to other queer people. But the fact that it's so often romanticized in BL series and used as this tool to bring couples together or highlight one's love for the other. It's just like perpetuating the idea that queer people are deviant by nature, and their romance and their love includes deviance and sexual harassment and all these other negative things by nature.
I said that after watching this show, I said that this show feels like they've set back all the progress that BLs have made in the past 5 years and just ruined everything.
Yeah, that's like what Clyde said in the comments. Like the fact that this came out after HIStory4, which have like some of people's favorite BL series ever, like through Trapped and Make Our Days Count, even though, you know, the ending is a thing that people hate.
It's the same screenwriter for the ending of Make Our Days Count as
But like HIStory4 Trapped is like a god tier series for a lot of people, and the fact that this came out afterwards and as part of the history series, it's just like, oh, so we're just going backwards here.
Yeah, I actually think like the main point, problem with this show is the writer. She is hella sus. I'm just gonna put it like that. But seriously, like she wrote Make Our Days Count, and yes, it's a really good show if you look away from the last episode, but she plagiarized that from an old I think it was an old manga. She took it from
about that.
Yeah, and the old manga. Yeah, the old manga had a happy ending and a bad ending. She used a bad ending. So, but it's such an old story that people just haven't like canceled her or whatever. So, and it's not as well known. So suddenly it's okay that she's just like plagiarizing, and then she tries to write her own story and it's this. I'm sorry, but who is giving her work?
I was looking at her her credits on my drama list. I'm not familiar with any of the other shows that she's written, but I can only imagine what they're like if this is, you know, the content that we've gotten from her original works.
Yeah. The writer of Trap went on to We Best Love. Yeah. And
the difference in quality between We Best Love and
I mean, you can clearly see that the good thing about History was the writer of Trapped and We Best Love. And they yeeted her. Or she yeeted herself. Whatever. So, yeah, no,
If you want to talk about the writing not making sense, how about the fact that Li Sheng suddenly is in love with Muren? Though there were no indicators of him liking him at all, and he was obsessed with the coworker.
Yeah, it's
that
very, it's very poorly transitioned. Like, it's not an uncommon trope to have a guy that's straight suddenly discover that, oh, he likes guys, but he's been together with Muren working for how long, and suddenly just because a girl he likes is there, then suddenly, oh, I like guys. No. It makes
I wish the writers would just, I wish they would acknowledge that it's okay to make your characters bi. Like, they don't have to be ambiguous or confused about their sexuality. They can just be bi.
Yeah.
So simple.
But
it's that simple.
No,
we need more bi characters.
In the comments said that the writer has always been sus, but we gave her a pass because the acting obsession as romance is a common thread for her. So yeah, I mean, if you think about it, in Make Our Days Count, what's his name? I can't remember who was who. Let me pull up their names very quickly. Hao Ting, I think, is the
main
he was low-key obsessed with Shigu. Like
but he was in a sort of endearing, like,
what is
this kind of way.
It wasn't like it wasn't like in History 4, but it
Mhm.
was the kind of thing where once he realized that he had feelings for him, he did not want to let it go type
Mhm.
situation. So I don't know. Maybe that's a more mellow version of it. And like I said, I'm not familiar with any of her other. She has written a lot of dramas. It looks like I'm not familiar with any of the other ones, but Bromance, that was a pretty popular one in 2015. She wrote that. I didn't,
I haven't
but
seen it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Bromance was I know it was like a cross-dressing drama
Mm.
type thing. So, but yeah, that's seems like it is a
Yeah.
common
I
thing for
I
her
know
then.
like a lot of the discourse happening between people disagreeing on if this show is good or not is because the people who think it's good get offended because they think that we're sort of going at the actors because I know like a lot of people like the show because they like the actors. I
Mhm.
saw so many commenting on Murren and his partner that they were cute and they liked them and all that, and that's fine. But when someone tells them like this show isn't good and this is why, they sort of took that as like a personal attack
Yeah,
on
I
the
mean, like
Yeah.
actors.
the actors were good.
Yeah.
They did really well at playing like sort of comedic upbeat roles. Um, and I like how the show was framed or shot. Like it's very much like in the style of if you're watching like an anime.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like they really excelled in this type of genre. It's
Mm.
just the characters they're playing are so
The
terribly
plot.
written.
There's no
Like,
plot. Like, how would you even call how they were from the start to the end? Would you call that development of characters?
I don't know because their personalities switch up like halfway through. Like, for
Yeah.
example, Li Shang suddenly liking Muren and suddenly becoming obsessed with him and wanting to be with him after saving him
Yeah.
from that.
So his
But it's like
character
there's no
development was
natural
that he's
progression
suddenly
to
gay?
it.
Yeah, is that
There's no like natural growth or progression. It was just kind of like, there you go,
Okay.
yeah.
you're gay now,
I remember
or
the
whatever.
female coworker. Yeah, the female coworker, the Fujishi, she was saying to him at the one point, "Oh, you're so deeply in the closet that you can't even accept it." But I remember when that happened, I was like, "Is he really?" And like I was starting to think about it, and maybe I missed something as I was watching the show, but I really don't remember any indicators of him
No, me
liking
neither.
men.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, did he trick himself like into liking men because his coworker was like, "Yeah, you're gay," and he was like, "Oh shit, maybe I must be gay."
Reverse psychology.
I mean, what grown man hears from a girl that you're probably gay and that
It's
puts
like
him on like,
Oxygen.
oh,
It's like Oxygen, the series. She did the same thing, and except he didn't actually end up falling for the guy in the end. He just used him, and it made me sad. But
yeah,
it's the same line of like, oh, pretending to be gay because the girl you like is like, oh, you must be gay. So
yeah.
playing into her fantasy or whatever.
This is why I'm calling it lazy writing. That the whole show is just really bad and lazy writing. And I did hear someone like saying that there are layers to the characters. And I'm having difficulties seeing these layers. And I kind of feel like people are thinking that it's layers because they need to rationalize the bad writing. It's so bad you need to
There must be layers there
rationalize
that we're not seeing yet.
that nothing can be so bad. It needs to be like some deep meaning to it.
Yeah, the only character who I could think maybe has layers to him is the main character. What's his name? Zing. I can't pronounce his name. Xingxi. Just because we see a lot of his inner struggle with his sexuality and being accepted by his dad, and everything that comes along with that. So I could see like his character having layers, but I I felt like everyone else was very shallow.
Mm.
I agree.
Like,
Yeah, I
really
agree.
can't
Like the
think
only
of-
character that's actually a little bit thought out is the older brother.
Mhm.
It's like she took a really thought out character and just built everything around him and just forgot about everyone else. They're just there to play off him or whatever. I I really love writing myself, and I've looked into a lot of like screenwriting and researching it and stuff because I want to try and screenwrite myself. So I do know that I'm a little bit I tend to overanalyze other people's scripts because I like really go into it because I enjoy it.
Mm.
So, but this I I honestly I have really trouble finding anything positive just in the whole framework of it. And it's except the actors are fine. Like I said in the beginning, it's not the actors. I just they
They did their best.
deserved something better.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate because history is such like a highly liked and highly acclaimed BL like franchise within Taiwan. And I know some of the earlier ones, I haven't seen a lot of them, but I know some of those have like some questionable plot points and stuff as well. But it is unfortunate to come into such like a well-known and well-liked franchise, and this is the script that you end up with, and the series you end up playing in. It makes me kind of curious to see how it was received within Taiwan. Like if Taiwanese natives like enjoy. I mean, I'm curious about what they think of the history series overall. So I feel like that's something we don't really have a lot of. Like when we were talking to Rabbit and Wolf, they did say that most Taiwanese like BL fans are very on the low. So I don't know if they have a fan community the same way that Thai BL fans do and things like that. But I would be curious to see how shows like this have been received by native fans, honestly.
Yeah, I'm really curious too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you wanted to get into all the top and bottom discourse that
Go
is in the
for it.
show.
Go for it.
Because it's astronomical. Like I was so shocked. I think it's obviously being used for like comedic effect. But it still got on my nerves.
Yeah.
Because I know that at least Muren, he calls out the other characters for being narrow-minded, especially Li Shang, who's the one pursuing him. He calls him out for being like narrow-minded because he's always bringing up like who would be the top and who would be the bottom between them. But I don't know, like some of the ways that Li Shang was differentiating tops and bottoms were very interesting to me. Like he's like the size of your dick.
Or that's like, so stupid. And I feel like that's such a common, oh my God.
Like, and then if you've had a girlfriend in the past or not. And of course the stereotypical one of who's manlier, but I thought that the girlfriend thing and the dick size was very interesting.
So stupid. One of the comments is, if he's willing to bottom, he must really love you.
I feel like that's literally what happened.
Oh my God. It's so
because, yeah, the guy has a dream where Muren is like, I'll bottom for you. And that's all he can think about the rest of the time is how he feels so triumphant that he's the top. And I'm like, what is this?
What does that do for you? Like,
I mean, like at least in Make Our Days Count, Houting had like curiosity on how you do stuff. They kind of skirted the whole bottom top thing there too, but at least he had like some like curiosity about it and not like
wanting to explore type.
Yeah.
But not in like, I don't know, because like there is something to be said for wanting to test things out and try different positions and try being a top or bottom or switch, whatever. But yeah, the certain stereotypes that this series perpetuated around it was just like insane to even think of how they came up with them. Like,
Yeah, this is like the how stereotypical yaoi was like 10 years ago. It was like everything was like that, but it's evolved since then. Like you can still find yaoi that has those stereotypes,
mhm.
but like people have moved past it and are trying to move more past it. Like it's not a thing that should be in BL right now. We're in 2021. What is this? If I didn't know any better, I would say like the show came out in 2016 or something.
That's what someone said earlier, that it's giving very much 2016 BL
Yeah,
energy.
yeah. And I
I
mean,
just
them throwing in the characters from Make Our Days Count is such a sleazy move. I'm sorry, but that was
uh
nothing but fan service and trying to get people
they
to
wanted the
watch.
views.
It had
I kind of
nothing
felt
to
like
do with
that
this.
was I kind of felt like that was the only good part.
It's the only thing
Yeah,
people would see it worth watching for.
yeah,
It was really interesting seeing those characters again because you're like, wow, this is where they are in life now. But
Mhm.
yeah, it was fan service. Like there was no plot reason for that to happen.
yeah, yeah, and yet Tiny is still in jail. Yeah, I mean,
Save my man Tiny.
they
Free
have
That's
him.
what they have to bring back.
I mean, they have so much good stuff they could actually like make more of, like Trapped and everything. But Trapped is not gonna be good unless they get back the writer.
Queen.
Do not let this woman touch Trapped.
Oh my
If
god.
there's a
No.
second season, oh
Do
god, I can only
not.
imagine what would happen to it.
I do not condone this woman taking an egg at Trapped. Do not mess up that show.
I would like to see if we do get a Trapped second season, since it's the same screenwriter, a Trapped We Best Love crossover. Since we're just throwing people into other series as well, we might as well have the We Best Love boys show up in Trapped season 2.
You know,
Oh,
if
God.
this, like the writer of History 4 gets a hold of Trapped 2, like the sequel to Trapped, and it's gonna
Mhm.
write it, I'm gonna start a campaign and actively campaign against this. Do
Start a
not ruin
petition.
my show. Like seriously, I will go to Taiwan and make this stop.
Protest outside of the offices.
Literally on the street with a sign.
Yeah,
Oh my
I will
god.
protest the hell out of that.
Charlotte said someone gets arrested in We Best Love and they meet Tang Yi in jail. I would let it happen. Could make it work somehow.
Oh my god.
Oh, I was gonna say something and I totally lost my train of thought. I don't know if it's gonna come back to me now.
I would love like a sequel to Crossing
Oh,
Line.
Crossing the Line. I
Yeah.
loved Crossing the Line. It's never gonna happen because the
Yeah,
one
I know.
actor is married with a baby now. I don't even know if he's still acting at all, let alone in.
Dude, life doesn't stop just because you have a baby.
Well, tell that to K-pop fans and BL fans, honestly. Like they need to learn that lesson
Yeah.
because they do act like it's the end all be all of
Yeah,
their
it's true.
fave's career. Like Bobby just announced, if you guys follow K-pop, this is a tangent,
Yeah,
but
I heard.
he just announced that he's getting married and having a baby in September, and we all know how it went for like the guy Chen from EXO and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I mean, I don't know how it goes for Taiwanese actors. I don't know if he's still having a career, like if he's still acting at all, or what goes
Have no
on,
idea.
or if he chose not to continue acting. But it would be a nice for people to just like let them date and have lives and still act in BL or whatever they want to act in, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know what happened to like the girlfriend of the guy and
Sam from We Best Love, yeah,
Yeah.
with his girlfriend.
Yeah, Taiwanese fans weren't really good about that.
We fandoms have a long way to go with in terms of respecting the artists that they claim to be such big fans of.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of sad that all these BL actors, K-pop idols, just have to put like their lives on hold or just hide it
Mm-hmm.
and just not live. I mean, if you're calling yourself a fan and you're actively acting in a way that stops them from having a life,
Yeah.
how are you
Are
really
you
a
there?
fan?
Yeah.
I
Isn't
would
there a similar
love to
issue?
see like a lot of like these BL actors, if girlfriend, boyfriend doesn't matter, if they get kids, I would love to see the kids and them out dating. And
Yeah, I want to see them post about their lives on like Instagram
that'd be
and be
so
excited about their
cute.
romance and stuff like that. But
Like we see
yeah.
with normal like Western actors, like we know like more about Taylor Swift's relationship than she knows herself. Like it, it's fine.
There was a similar issue with Bright's girlfriend, but I think hers had more to do with the
Didn't she
fact that
make
people weren't okay with her.
she made like some political comments
Yeah.
or something, I think,
Mm.
and people did not like that. But they still harassed her and attacked her in a way that they definitely should not have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think hers was related to some comment she had made on Instagram or something along those lines.
Mm.
But
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
No matter what you feel about a person, harassing them is not okay. And you're flipping the situation. Like, if you're harassing someone because they said something idiotic, then suddenly they are going to be the victim because you are like writing to them to die and whatever. It's why would you do that? It's taking the spotlight off the idiot who said it.
Yeah, like if you're sending someone death threats over some type of political commentary that they made, in the end, you sending them death threats is going to trivialize what they did, even if they actually did say something that was wrong or inappropriate. Like if you turn around and harass them or attack them, like Pixie said, like then they become the victim, and it makes whatever they did do, and if they should have had consequences for that, seem pale in comparison to the harassment they're receiving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts about History 4 since we're on tangents?
Wellington said, "It's just sad this plot became part of history. I mean, the ending of Make Our Days Count was sad at all, but at least there were some interesting characters." Yeah, I mean, I feel like it didn't do the franchise justice, or at least what we know and like of the franchise. So it's just really unfortunate. And I feel as if it has dampened a lot of people's excitement for any further installments that they might do.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think, as far as I know, they are planning to do like a History 5 or History 4 Series 2, something like that. But
There was
just feel like
some rumors that the one they put on hold, they were gonna do into a History 4 season, half season or whatever.
right.
What's it called again? I mean, they did like a trailer for it back in the days, but it never came out.
Remember.
I
Was
cannot
that
remember. But
let Tiny out of jail and put the brother in there?
Either way, we just need to get Tangi out of jail. That seems to be the bottom line of
you
this
know,
live
that
stream.
is completely fair. That is perfect trade.
See, that's funny. That's funny.
Well, so we have like 10 minutes left. People in the comments, is there any plot points or anything that you guys in particular wanted us to touch on? Or
I have a thing while people think. The whole scene of Murren in the bathtub. Thoughts. Drugged in the bathtub with his like the other guy watching him.
Not good thoughts.
I'm surprised that they showed something like that.
Yeah,
it was pretty out there. It in a way kind of reminded me of the scene in Thorn type when type is like sick and Thorn is trying to like take advantage of him or something, but not at the same time because I guess the guy just sat there and watched him. But I don't know. It was really I don't know why they
I mean,
like,
they were trying to
why?
put like a sort of comedy BL out there, and then they put a scene like this that's honestly, it was framed really grotesque
Mhm.
and really weird that his friend is just staying, and then they kind of framed it like it was a dream, that he was dreaming all this afterwards or whatever, and that it was sexy, and that's what made him fall in love with him. But it's huh? It makes no sense. Why is that in there?
It's a good question.
I guess it was to try to make it seem like that was the point where Li
Point
Shang
of no return.
started liking him. I don't know.
Like, because he sees his coworker and friend drugged in a bathtub jacking off, then you're gay. That's
it's like,
how
yes,
that
this
works,
is what's doing it for me.
obviously. How can you be gay in any other way? Like, obviously. I mean, why are you framing it like that? It made no sense.
The loop bottle thing was another thing because I was like, why did he have that stuff sent to his work address and not his home address?
Yeah, right?
I don't. You mean you guys don't get your sex toys and products sent to work? Isn't that what everyone does?
To the office.
Yeah, I mean, just chilling in the office. Thanks, guys. This one's for me.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Dream is a funny way to say memory loss as a trauma response.
Honestly, might be. Might be. Yeah.
It's like I really don't have many words for this series. It's just insane to me.
I just feel like if you could go really into the show and nitpick on every detail because there's so much wrong that doesn't make sense for a story, that there's too much.
You'd be here forever.
Yeah, you can make like a whole series about this, just going through every episode,
every
and
single
just
episode,
pointing out everything wrong.
Everything wrong with HIStory4, a 5,000 part series.
Exactly. And I mean, it all just lends down to bad writing.
Bad use of tropes, bad depictions of relationships, bad depictions of homosexuality. Like everything is just not good. None of it's good.
Yeah, it just feels really outdated, like we said. Something that would be in 2016.
100%.
Anyone else have any last minute thoughts, either you guys or in the chat? Give it a few minutes because I know there's a few seconds. I know there is a delay between us and YouTube.
Small delay.
I give the series a 0+1 because of the scene where we got to see the HIStory3 actors reunion. Everything else had to go.
Same. The only good part of the show was the actors that weren't in the show. Yeah. I am. What are your scores, ladies?
Can I give a negative score?
Oh, on a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10?
Let's say 1 to 10.
Oh,
-10.
That's I don't know what
I'll give it like a 2 or a 3 just for the acting, but everything else I did not like. I would never recommend this series to anyone. I would never watch it again. I would say if you're interested in the actors, look out for some of their other projects that they're hopefully have been in or are going to be in, but nothing else I really see as worthwhile about this particular series.
Yeah, same. I would give it a 2.
I think I would give it like a 2 or 3 maybe. I feel like this show could have been okay if they had the brothers not get together in the end. And if they what was the one thing we talked about? If the whole sexual assault thing was framed completely differently.
Right.
Because that was like the big thing that I did not like about it. But
Yeah.
I wasn't even that bothered by like the Fujishi characters. Like I didn't even think they were that bad.
I feel
or
like they
anything.
paled in comparison to everything else wrong with the series, honestly.
Yeah.
Like they seemed pretty sane. So I thought that depiction there was good, but
Yeah,
so
it
I guess
wasn't
I'll
like
give
it
like,
wasn't on oxygen levels.
yeah, I guess I'll give it like a 3 for the acting and for, I don't know, the female characters.
Charlotte
yeah.
said, my thoughts are I'm glad I never watched it. You're lucky. You saved yourself a lot of pain.
Yeah, we had to force our way through the whole thing because
Just
we
to
knew
do
we were going to do this.
I literally, I get really car sick, and I spent like 5 hours just watching the show in the car, and I was feeling so sick. I was, is this because of the show, or is this because I'm looking at a screen in a moving vehicle?
Yeah.
Aisha said, my score is not available out of 10 because it doesn't exist in my fantasy. And Clyde said, fair. I agree. I like gritty topics as long as things that are wrong are shown as wrong. Yeah, I feel like there's nothing wrong with depicting dark or negative or gritty things, but they have to be depicted with consequences and in a way that's respectful to that trauma and the people that have experienced it, and that's not what this show did at all.
Yeah, I like a lot of shows that deal with really dark things, like if you've ever seen The Judgment on Netflix with Mile, that one I really love, and it has a lot of dark themes. Even like The Effect, I loved The Effect.
Yeah, you did a video on that.
Yeah, that one's really heavy, but I feel like it's a good watch. I retract my Viki account. That's my friend.
Cancels.
Viki account I use.
Kelsey said, my score is a 1, but nice try though. Don't try again.
Yeah, please don't.
Don't try again, please.
Yeah, we don't need it. I kind of hope they like watch this.
Please take some of our advice.
Take some notes, please. I feel sorry for HIStory4 stans. I mean, the ones that love the actors, because I've been through something similar with Tharntype. I really like Mew and Gulf, but I'm not watching that ever again.
Yeah.
It's
hard.
Yeah.
It's hard when someone you really like is just in something really, really bad, and you're like, oh, oof.
Jose is bullying Kayla.
Bullying Kayla in the comments.
And history pops up on my recent activity, and I was lost as to why it was.
Poor Jose is like, who is trying to sabotage my recommendations?
Oh my god. Yeah, a lot of the things I've been watching recently, I feel like it's like, why are you watching this?
The ghost of history.
Yeah. Bottom line, don't give that writer any more projects. Then the history series will be saved, probably.
Hopefully.
But just as a final note, I do not understand how that show went through a lot of people and got approved to go on TV as a 15+ show. With
if they were going to do it should have been TVMA.
Yeah.
With trigger warnings. I mean, at least they put them in after the fact, but like
like they were showing butts and everything. Like how was that TV-15?
That's insane.
Yeah, and it was pretty explicit, the rape scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. I don't know.
Oh my god. Yeah.
All right, well.
Yeah. Well, guys,
we ranted for an hour, so I think that's a good time to call it.
This was really fun, guys, and we will continue doing lives. We've set it up so we will be doing one a month. And if you have any suggestions on what we should cover next time, please let us know in the comments when this goes up. Not next week, but the week after.
It'll
So
be Tuesday the 31st. We'll put this back up on YouTube as a podcast episode.
yes.
So be sure to comment and share it with
Yes.
other people
Yes. And
because
follow
we want
us
to read
on
everyone's
social media
comments. Yes.
to keep up. And if you didn't know already, we have a Patreon, and on there you can get access to our exclusive Discord where we talk a lot about stuff, and you get news early, episodes early, and other behind the scenes stuff. Like we have behind the scenes footage of our talk with Pavel, 20 minutes that didn't make it into the episode. And we also have some behind the scenes of the episode that's going up on Tuesday with about fanfiction with Amanda from the Aoi Shelf. That was a fun episode, so be sure to watch that when it comes out. Like, we were laughing so much through that thing.
She's so funny.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, Golden Blood. I have a feeling we'll probably end up doing a review on that maybe next month, depending on what our patrons vote. We typically have them vote for what series we review next. We're doing Why Destiny today, and I have a feeling they'll want to see Golden Blood, but it's really up to them. But yeah, we definitely, I know at least me and Pixie watched it. Kayla, I don't know if you've gotten to it yet. You've been watching Golden Blood, right? You watched it.
I watched it.
I know we all have some thoughts
making
there
notes for a video.
Yeah, so I'm sure we'll have something come out soon
Yeah.
in the next couple weeks on Golden Blood as well, so stay tuned.
Yeah, and we will also be talking about Game Boys, the movie.
Yes,
I'm
excited about that one.
Yes.
Okay, well, thanks guys for joining our live.
Yeah, thank you. We had so much fun. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.